else. So let's jump into the agenda today so that we'll have a good experience and everybody will be able, I'll be able to follow along with you, and Rose will be able to help track for me. If you have a question, be sure that you precede that question with a few capital Q's or the question mark repeated a couple of times. Start the sentence that way rather than end it. It is a lot easier when I go back and read the chat log to be able to find the questions to make sure that we didn't miss it. It's also easier for Rose to be able to identify those and remind me to address that before we get finished. So just please use that nomenclature. It will really, really help us as we scroll along, okay? So let's get into some webinar basics. We do this every time, but it's important that we understand this. We're going to cover both UZIGN, GIFZIGN, LogoZIGN, and MOCKZIGN. Good morning, Tyree. We'll cover all four of those products today. We're going to put more emphasis than we have in the past on GIFZIGN. And so we'll be talking about it, and I'll mention the other products today, and we'll spend just a little bit of time with UZIGN. But I wanted to let you know that on any given webinar, we're liable to put a focus on any one of those products or all four of them, because we're in the process of developing a suite of tools, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Stephen, good to see you as well. So now we have, and we're going to have to update this, but we have a list of the most common asked questions for UZIGN and GIFZIGN, and we're going to add some other things to that. But use that resource guide. Most of you have it, and it will help us drastically to reduce the number of support tickets. Someone's already asked a question about support, and I'm gonna do that. No, I am not. I do not talk about. I didn't get to that. I do not talk about any other offers. I keep that restricted to the core products. Okay. Can somebody help Kim? She says she can't see or hear. So if you could help her, I would appreciate it. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I'm going to talk just briefly about support in just a minute. It's on the agenda. And I will understand that your questions are important, but they're going to need to relate to today's topic. I don't answer questions about prices and timelines, and I don't answer questions about partners offers. And please refer to the document that we've given you, which was right there. Now, let's talk about the other things. We got some pretty cool stuff going on here. We have changed the location of where we put all of the Abigail. No, we're not going to talk about Gift Publisher. So just not going. We're not going to do that. It's not on the agenda. We have developed a different platform than we had in the past for. We've developed a different platform for support, and so we have a whole bunch of stuff that's included here. We have tutorials, we have the webinar replays, we have all of those things in a new website. So make sure that you get that address and that you go through that and you take a look at that and make sure that you have that, okay? The next thing is that we have introduced the Visual Academy, UZIGN's Visual Academy, and that is available under UStart. And Rose gave you the information about that, and it is available right here. It's under UZIGN.mykajabi.com, and you will find that Visual Academy right there, okay? The next thing is, there's been an update. There has been an update to LogoZIGN. There's been an update to the information about LogoZIGN. And I want you to read that very carefully. If you have purchased LogoZIGN, please go in and read that. I'm not going to read the article to you here. Bertrand did a great job of sharing his heart about what had happened. And keeping in mind the fact that this was a beta product. It still is a beta product. They had to take a different direction with it. The direction that they're going now is wonderful. And we've got a great team on that product, and I think we're going to get caught up here. So just ride this wave with us. It has been difficult. There were some technical decisions that were made, and that failed. And without pointing fingers or talking about anything there, Bertrand did a great job of explaining what had happened and what the plan was going forward. So one of the things I want you to take from that is I want you to take the heart of the company, and I want you to understand how important you are, because you're very important to us. And I want to make sure that you understand, and if you read that update, you'll get a good idea just exactly where the heart of the company is at and how important customers are to us as we go forward. Okay, so hopefully you've all read that. Tell me if you are a LogoZign owner and you've read that agreement. Just put yes in the chat, would you please? Okay, good. Good. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that, but make sure that you do that. If you're a LogoZign owner, make sure you do that, because that will really help you to understand what it is that we're doing. Okay? Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Heads up about support. We're having a large queue of support tickets at the help desk at the moment. And we saw that address just a moment ago. If you send multiple tickets, it makes it more difficult to get any of them answered. And I see this a lot in the group. This is not, understand that support tickets don't function like email does. If you have a Gmail account and I send you 3 emails with the same on the same subject line, you're going to get all 3 of those show up at the same time. That's not how our support system works. They all show up as new issues, and so it drowns out the support ticket desk. And make sure that you don't overwhelm that. Just simply, if it is a necessity of support, and make sure it's a necessity of support, because we want to support our customers. We really do. But sometimes the things that get asked in support could easily have been answered if you just simply looked right here. And we have this happen a lot. And I mentioned this for a couple of weeks now. Look there first. I think that the background tool, the background removal tool, that issue comes up and people send support tickets in, and the answer is always the same. Always. And so if you'll look right there, you'll be able to find the answer. And we really, really want to help you. But at the same time, there's a lot of development going on, a lot of attention being focused in a lot of places, and sending in multiple support tickets just overwhelms the system and the staff. So let's do our best to be able to answer questions in support. I had somebody ask a question the other day, and I answered it, Gene answered it, and then they sent in a support ticket, and all 3 answers are exactly the same. So depend on your community first. Ask those questions in the community first, because oftentimes most of us have faced those issues at one point or another. And so it will really be helpful to support if you will help to reduce that ticket load. And multiple tickets always just complicate the issue more than you can imagine. And I know that you want to get a quick response. And I've in a completely different group, I saw somebody the other day that had sent in multiple tickets over the weekend and was upset because they didn't get an answer immediately. Well, number one, it's the weekend. And number 2, it takes a long time. Sometimes you got to have a bunch of stuff that you're getting through to get to the person who sent the support ticket. And that's the reason why it's really important. Use the community if you can. That's why we develop those communities, not to be support, but oftentimes the support is something that can easily be answered in the community. Okay? Now, I'm going to say one more thing, and we're going to play with this, okay? This is going to be one of the things we're going to do today. But I went to I went to a fast food restaurant one time. I was in a hurry. I used to travel all over the country, and I'm in a hurry to get from one place to the other, get to the airport. And I stopped in a fast food restaurant. I was the only person there. And the guy who was behind the counter, he was filling the straw containers, and he was filling the cup containers, and he was wiping down the counters. And I stood there, and I stood there, and I stood there, and he said, "Look, sir, we got a lot of more important things to do than wait on customers." Well, I want you to know that customers are really important at UZIGN, but it's going to take a joint effort to help us to get that the number of tickets down so they're easier to manage. Okay. The next thing is I want to give a little community shout out to Stefan, who created this little GIF right here. And the reason why I want to do that is because I thought this was great. This was great that he took UZIGN, MOCKZIGN, and GIFZIGN to create a single product. That's the reason why. That's the reason why we are developing a suite of products. And all of those have to go and work together. And it's very important that we do that. So big shout out to Stefan today for understanding and using those three products the way they were designed to be used. And I think that's pretty cool. Martin, if you're having a connection issue, hopefully you'll just hit F5 and maybe that'll refresh and maybe that'll fix the problem for you. And as Rose says, we're still developing that support site. So ride that wave with us. Perfection is the goal, but it's not always attainable instantly. So we're in the process of fixing those things and making them to be the best experience that we can possibly have for everybody that's there. So we have a suite of tools: UZIGN, MOCKZIGN, GIFZIGN, and LogoZIGN. We've talked about the update to the LogoZIGN and what's going on there, and I think you're going to be really happy with what you're going to see. I wrote an extensive explanation of beta and how that works, and why it's important to have feedback and what we do with that feedback. I'll tell you a little story about Steve Jobs. When he introduced the Mac, the desktop version of the Mac, they were at the Super Bowl, and they had a big commercial that was going to roll out at the Super Bowl. And he's sitting in the press box, and he watches that flash up on the screen. And this is in a 1997 interview with him. And this is what he said. He said, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I went, oh, crap. This product no longer belongs to me, and the idea is no longer mine. It's now in the hands of our customers, and they're going to help direct us in the direction that it goes. And that's part of the reason why we use beta, okay, is to help us to develop the product in the direction that it needs to go, all right? And we're working on all of those products. They're all being worked and developed together so that we can have the best experience, just exactly like Stefan shared with us here, of being able to use that suite of tools together. Are we all good with that? Remind you one more time that there is a MOCKZIGN update right now, and we have added several new mock-ups to that platform. And so if the mock-ups that you would like to see are not there yet, they're going to be there. At some point in time, they will be there. And so, no, this is not from last week. I'm just reminding people that from last week. Now, and thank you, though, Jonte, because the very next thing is, if you go to this platform, if you go to the MOCKZIGN platform where you get your downloads from, and you click on Messenger, make sure that you go to Messenger and make sure that you click send to Messenger, and you will get a Messenger notification when every time that there is every time there's an update. You click on the send to Messenger, you have to give Facebook approval with that, and then you get this message right here is telling you that you're all set, and you can view the test message in Messenger. Okay? Somebody remind Abigail, what's the new MOCKZIGN updated version number? I believe it's 8. I believe that's it. 7. Like I said, I couldn't remember that off the top of my head. So today, and just here, I just wanted to show you again what the new mock-ups look like, and I really kind of dug some of the new mock-ups. Okay. And so I just wanted to remind you that that's there. Sometimes when we do one at the end of last week, I have to remind you for 2 weeks to make sure that you do that. Okay. The next one is, remember, we're in a battle for attention. The whole purpose of everything that we do, the whole purpose of marketing is to capture somebody's attention. So last week we talked about mock-ups being a way to capture people's attention. Today, I want to talk about GIFs being a way to capture people's attention. Okay? So I want to talk about GIFs being a way to capture attention. So we're going to play with GIF sign for a while today. Okay? Are y'all good with that? Hopefully we have some new GIF sign users that have just joined the group. And so I thought this would be a good day for us to roll out some additional information and just kind of walk through the GIF sign platform. Okay? Now, question always comes up, why would I need a GIF when I have an MP4? And we'll talk about the differences between those. And the SEO people always, well, GIFs are so much bigger and they load slower than MP4s do. Well, I agree with that. However, there are reasons when you're battling for attention. When you're battling for attention, there are times when a GIF sign or a GIF looks far better to capture attention than an MP4 does. Okay? Okay, Terry, I'll address that. That has been an ongoing situation. There was a problem with if you're new, if you're new to GIF sign, there was a problem communicating somewhere in the back office. And I've been notified by support that is taken care of. Simply go to your GIF sign platform and start over again, and you shouldn't have any issue whatsoever. Okay? That may take care of your problem. All right? If not, then let us know. But when we're in that battle for attention, sometimes the GIF is better to accomplish the attention than an MP4 is. And we're going to talk about that and illustrate that a little bit today. Now, I can create an MP4. I can easily create an MP4 in GIF sign. I can also create a GIF in GIF sign, which makes it an amazing tool and gives us lots of flexibility. So in that battle for attention, when I have something right here, and I'm going to play this, okay? This is an example. I took this from a website that I have, a WordPress website, and this is the GIF sign, and I know it's off-center, but you'll see why in just a second. I took this and I screen captured this. We talk about screen capturing a lot, and so this is a screen capture, and I want you to see this. I love that desk mock-up too. Thank you, Rose. This is right off my WordPress site. And when this, and I have these two right here, all right? That is a video which has to be pressed to play. The one above it is a GIF that plays without any activity whatsoever. I'm trying to capture what? Tell me what it is that I'm after in the marketing world. We're after attention. And because we're after attention, sometimes the GIF works better than an MP4. And I have to sometimes make a trade-off. Would I rather load an image that's slower and get attention, or do I want to load something fast that gets ignored? So I want to make sure I capture attention. Capturing attention is extremely important. Okay? So that's in the battle for attention. Sometimes I believe that a GIF wins. All right? And then I have a landing page developer that I use for this purpose right here. And that is to just show how quickly with something that optimizes, and this is an optimized site, something that optimizes the images, makes them play very rapidly, or makes them play, they don't play rapidly, makes them load very rapidly, and gets and is able to accomplish that attention thing that we're so desperately needed. Okay. It does help to get people to watch. Now, I'm going to go back over here to this. I can actually make on my WordPress site, I can make this GIF a clickable image. Okay. And yes, it does play in an email, and I can make it a clickable image. It plays by itself, and when I scroll over the top of it, I get an indication that it's a clickable image. I can click on it and redirect somebody to something else. Okay. Shaman, if you're having trouble with nothing on the screen, try hitting F5 to refresh and see if that helps, okay? Because we want to win the battle for attention. Everything's, marketing is always the battle for attention. And so I think it's great, particularly on landing pages, because I can use a landing page builder that optimizes the images and makes them play or makes them load very rapidly, okay? Any questions about that? Very good. Yes, Susan, you do that simply. In WordPress, you do it simply by redirecting it to a URL, which you do when you load the image. And images, you just drag and drop the images into your WordPress site, and then you edit that and put a clickable link to it. You can't do that. Well, you can with some other third-party tools sometimes. They're not all working really well on Facebook right now, but usually they just want to stop and start when you do it in Facebook or other social media platforms. But you want to win that attention battle, and this is just a little GIF sign sandbox that I use to show people how it works. And I have a GIF that plays right here. That's the one that you saw earlier when I loaded from right here. That's just a screen capture of that site right there. Yes, I understand that, Ryan, but again, keep in mind that we're in a battle for attention. Mobile is going to kill us in a lot of ways, but it's important for us to remember. Sometimes I have to make sacrifices, okay? Is it loaded into your image folders in WordPress? The answer to that question is yes. It's in my media manager in WordPress. But I just open up WordPress, open up the media manager, upload the file into the GIF file into my media manager, and then I have it available everywhere. Okay. I want to answer one question about the GIF sign canvas here, or the GIF sign platform here, because I have this question, probably get asked this question the most. And that is, I don't have that frames rate at the bottom of my screen like you do. I don't have frame rates down there. Well, that's because you didn't load up frames. If you load images, you'll have frame rates. If you don't load images, you won't have frame rates. Okay? I know that people get confused about this, and so I wanted to remind you, when we open up the screen in a minute, you're going to see two different windows. One has frame rate down here at the bottom, and the other one does not. This is when you have loaded a GIF or a video. This is when you have loaded a series of images, and so it's really easy for you to tell when you go back to your screen, and I'll show you that in just a second, by what you have down here, what you're seeing on the screen, whether that's a series of images or if it is a GIF or a video that you have loaded, or a screen capture video that you've loaded. Screen capture video, images, and our screen capture video and MP4s and GIFs will all appear like this. Images will appear just like this. Everything else is the same, but lots of people will ask me, why don't I have this down here at the bottom? Well, it's because you don't have images loaded, okay? So we'll talk about that when we get to the screen. But it's important that you do this. You begin with the end in mind. You always want to know, what's my output going to be? The when I'm trying to decide between an MP4 or GIF, I have to figure out what's going to be my input, or what's going to be my output, what's going to be my end goal. What am I trying to accomplish by doing this? And when I understand what that is, then it's easy for me to begin with the right tool and the right thing. Okay? Try to get to the point where we can share some tips with you, and we'll answer some questions that are related to today's topic. Okay? All right, give me a second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna move to a different screen, okay? Yeah, I have to do that frequently. So this is the image that I had up earlier, okay? Now watch what happens when I load it here at 8 frames. That's just playing too rapidly for me, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slow my frame rate down. For those of you who are new, you can slow that frame rate down and then you can test it. Click that little eyeball to test it, to make sure that you're not, you don't want to save it, you just want to test it, okay? All right, okay, so I can adjust that right there. Okay, so I can adjust that all the way down, and notice that it will play much slower now. Hey, James, good to see you. And you see how much slower it plays. So I can play with that frame rate before I save it, because once I save it, that frame rate is now embedded into the GIF. So if I save it at a 4, I can't go back and edit it that way. All right. Once I've saved it, and that plays real comfortably there, and so I can save it. And then I can go over here to the mockups and I can preview it. I can preview it from right here. And from right here, I can download it, or I can put it in a mockup and I can put it anywhere else that I want it to go. And that wouldn't look good on a computer screen, but it would look pretty cool if I put it somewhere else like this. All right, run that like it was a billboard, okay? See, I've got some questions here, so hold on a second. You can't reorder once they're in the program, okay? So to make that GIF, what I did, and now I've saved it, and I can preview it with any of these mock-ups right here. Once I've saved it, it's saved as a GIF at that frame rate in that order. If I wanted to recreate the order, I can do that. Go over here. And I have those right here. And so let's see if we can do that. We'll put them in a different order. I happen to put letters in front of that one instead of numbers. And so let's see if I'll do it in a different order here, or if it's going to play the same way. Nope, still playing the same way. And that has to do probably with the fact that I have them numbered that direction. So it's playing it that way, okay? The only way I could reorder it, obviously, Kim, is if I had it numbered in a different direction. Okay? So that's saved right here. It has that embed with that. This is the new one. I can save this. I can save it as an MP4 here. I can take those same slides and save them as an MP4, and it will play as an MP4. And when I save it, this is what happens. It says MP4 up here at the top. This one says GIF at the top, okay? All right. Any questions about that? And I've done that, Kim. I've actually, as a matter of fact, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I've actually taken my images, put them in a video editor, and then changed the sizes of the images, moved them around, added some text, and then saved the video and loaded it into GIF site. And yeah, you can do that. Again, a suite of tools. So you have lots of capabilities. And this is what we have right here in this suite of tools. We have the opportunity to be able to take this and save it. I can create this in UZine, save it, and create a GIF out of it. All right. But that's what happens when you have a suite of products. You have greater capabilities all the time. Yes, you can use a frame to cut out some of your video. In this case, this is a still image that I have here, and I created it in UZine, and I put a frame around the outside of it, and then I played this, and I inserted this text on top of it. And sometimes you can do the same thing with a video playing in the background. I added the text one frame at a time. So what I did as I opened, and that's where we'll go when we get finished. So hang on to that question. Was that Debbie that asked that? Yes, Debbie, hang on to that question, and I'll answer that in just a minute, okay? Because what I did with this image so that it would play like this and type out that word was I created that in UZine, saved it with each word added, and then created the GIF out of that. Steve, I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe Gene does. I've not used GIFs for Facebook ads. And the fact is I've been sick for the last 2 months, and so I haven't done any Facebook ads for 2 months. So I don't, Facebook changes things rapidly. So I don't know the current answer to that question about using GIFs for Facebook ads. I did it a few months ago, it didn't work, but I don't know what the current answer to that question is. If somebody can answer that, would be helpful, okay? All right, so do you see the things that we have inside of GIFZine? Now I'm going to download this as an MP4, and I'm going to upload it so you can see how that's done. Now I'm going to upload this, and that's it. Now it plays right here, and I don't have the frame rate down here at the bottom anymore. You see that? No frame rate down here because I've loaded a video. And now I'll play that video and you'll see how it works. I said I would. I think it went through that very rapidly. Okay, something was wrong with my upload. Here's something to remember. We can't upload into MOCKZIGN yet. There's some people who are cutting out the image in MOCKZIGN and playing it in the background, and that's really cool. Okay, good. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. All right, look down here at the bottom. You'll see that we have an issue because we have no start time and end time is exactly the same. So let's go back and see what we can figure out might be wrong here. Try it one more time. This is, anybody know what we call this when we do this? I have a special name for this. Remember, we call it clickology. We just keep clicking till we figure out what's going on, and that's clickology. All right, this looks like this should work. Let me see what the length of that video is. Select that. Look at the length of that. See, save the duration is 0. So don't know. I did something wrong in saving the video. Yep, clickology. That's what it is. All right. All right. Right now, with the time that we have left, I'm going to open up the UZine canvas and show you how I created this, because I think we'll answer some of these questions that are going on right here. Okay. Is everybody good with that? Because I think that's important that we get to UZine today. But I want to just give you some things that I think, particularly for the new folks, that we can do with GIFsign. All right, so give me a second to change my screen. Hopefully this will go well this time, and we won't have an issue. Stop sharing that screen. Yeah, no, Susan, in order to do that, I have to bring up everything. And it's just difficult for me to have the chat window and a whole bunch of other stuff going on at the same time. And so I didn't bring up that window so you could see. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't show the folder window. So I apologize for you not being able to see that today. So we're on the Untitled screen now. Y'all should be able to see that fine. Yeah, okay. In this particular case, this is an image laid on top of a black background, which is, in this case, easier to do and probably better to do than building it out. So, but I do want to build it out. I want to build it out for a reason. I'm going to leave this just like this. And I'm going to add some graphics to this. I'm going to show you how we do this, okay? And what I'm going to do is go over here. Yeah, you're able to see that. Okay, good. You go over here. And I'm going to grab a thing and create a frame, okay? This is what you do to create a frame around the outside of this and leave this spot transparent. And this might be different than other people would do, but this is how I do it, okay? There's always more than one way to accomplish the goal, but I try to do it in my way, the way that's the fastest and easiest for me. I just duplicate that, drop that down there. Let's take a look and make sure that it's in the right spot. Okay, you got an issue with the preview there. Make sure this is in the right spot. There we go. And now I need one more. And this one more. Let me go right here. And I'm going to cover up this edge over here. In just a minute, you're going to see why. I'm going to do this. Now, in this case, I'm going to move this one backwards so I can get the lettering on top of it. And I'm going to turn all of these black. I can turn them any color I want, but I'm going to turn them all black in this case. Might be a way to eliminate a step or two here, but I want you to see what's involved in the process. All right, now you see I've got exactly what the look that I had before. Ryan, just ask the question in, just make a post in the group and you're welcome to ask a question there, okay? Now, show you why I did that. I'm going to remove this image and we're going to make an overlay out of it. So now it's black in the middle. Go back to my background and turn it transparent. Now I see where I'm at, okay? I'll make that a little bit bigger so that it covers everything up. And now I have an overlay. I can take that overlay and I can play a video in the background of this. I can put that in a video editor and play it that way. I can do what I did before, and that is remove a word, save it, remove a word, save it, remove a word, save it, or add a word, save it, add a word, save it, add a word, save it. And now I have 4 images with a transparent background. How did I get those fonts on the left? Well, first of all, they were already there. And so they had been hidden behind that block. And I just moved the block forward. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to move it backwards. I'm sorry. They'd been hidden behind the block like that. And so I just moved them forward. They were already there. But these fonts right here are, you can always go up here and they're lobster fonts. Okay. Yeah, you're trying to be funny, Gene. I apologize. Yeah, that's a really pretty cool font. That lobster font's a real common font today. Okay. I know, Gene. I got it. I'm a little slow this morning, but I got it. Okay, if I wanted to complete the video, I'm gonna have to open up a couple of tools here. I'm gonna download this as a ping file, just for you, Abigail. I'm gonna save that as a transparent ping file. Okay. Now I'm gonna go over. Give me just a second because I've got to load a video tool here because I hadn't planned to do this. This is the reason why I say your questions always have to kind of relate, because it takes a little bit to have all the tools in place to do that with. So we'll do this in just a second. All right. Can you see my Camtasia screen? This is just a video editing software. Any video editing software that you can add an image to, you can do this with. Okay? This is just a video that I have playing in the background. Got that? Y'all understand what we're doing there? I just have a video. Okay? Now, I'm going to import the image that I just saved. And you can't see the folder, but that's the image that I just saved. All right. See that pop up right there? I'm going to pull that image down here. And now that is over the top of this video that I had in the background. I want to make this so that I can line those two up. You got to make sure that you get on your overlay. And that's my video. And I want to make sure that the video lines up in the window. Like that. Now, I make the overlay longer. And you can see it right there. Does that make sense to everybody? And I can play the video in the background. Now that video comes out a little funky on your end because we're using lots of resources to run Camtasia and the webinar software at the same time. But yes, it's really fairly easy to create these overlays using UZine. Then I could actually take this. It probably will take all of the time that we have left because Camtasia is really slow in rendering video, but I'm going to try. Okay. And give me just a second, see if how quickly that'll download. But what I'll do now is I'll take that video that I just created, load it back up into GIFsign if I can get all the windows to open and close and do the things I need to do. So does everybody understand the process that we just went through? Gene, I know you get it. You do this all the time. But we created a transparent background. We've built a frame around the top of a transparent background. I used the picture of the hamburger to hold the spot so that I could create this window that I would end up playing the video in, okay? So now, let's see if I can do a switch back again. Hang on with me. Takes a second or two to do this. For some reason, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Give me just a moment. There we go. I'll go back out. Are you seeing my GIF sign window? I'm going to go out here and I'm going to grab that video. Now I know you can't see the folder window, but hopefully you can see the end result here. It takes a minute to do this. This is the reason why it's hard to do these issues, because I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing and find my files at the same time. There we go. All right. It takes a minute for that to render. Now, we show it has 19 seconds here. Let's preview it and see what happens. And remember, I just grabbed whatever video I could find available. So it takes a minute for it to render that. And there we go. And you can see how you can use your overlay playing a video in the background and create a GIF file out of that. Okay? Everybody understand that? But yes, please recognize you can use these overlays. And again, you're building all these pieces together. This is why the suite of tools becomes so important, is that we've got tools that we can do multiple things with. I now can take UZine, create overlays for my videos. And somebody said just a minute ago, it's the best way to make your videos pop. And I agree with that. When you've got a static image over here on the side and you've got a video playing inside of it, it really makes a difference in the response. Again, we're in a battle for attention, and we're trying to make sure that we get the attention of the person who comes by and happens to see that. Did I import it into MOCKZIGN as well? No, I just, in this case, all I used was UZine, and I used my video editor, and I used no, I just used the hamburger picture because it happened to be the right size. And so that's what I did there. Recommendation for screen capture on Mac. Now, a couple of things that you can do if you're trying to screen capture the videos and put them into GIFsign, you can just use the screen record feature on GIFsign and do that. But there are other things that you can use. I mean, I personally, my favorite is Screencast-O-Matic. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of explanatory videos in Screencast-O-Matic, and it is a great little tool for being able to do screen capture videos. It's perfect for that. Okay, what I did before, and this is really important, Keith, what I did before was I created a series of images that got the words "you said what" to appear. I saved it when it just said "you," I saved it when it said "said," I saved it when it said "what." So I had 3 images that created that "you said what." That's the reason why they were moving. Yes, I could have used 2 videos. I could put a little video down in the corner of this showing my face. There's all kinds of things that you can do. Could you do a custom picture transparent frame from an existing image? The answer to that question is yes. You can definitely do that. As a matter of fact, when you look and you see when you see the video that Gene posted in the group where he's got the MOCKZIGN image and he's panning across, and he's got a video playing in the person's iPhone, and he's got the video playing in the background. That's actually two videos, and he has taken an image and cut the middle out of that so he could accomplish that. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will actually do that using I'm going to use the background removal tool, and I'll do that for you, posted in the group later. Eric, I can't do it now because we've run completely out of time. But with that being said, hopefully this has been helpful to you, and you've got a little bit of a different look at GIFsign today, and also show how to use the Uzign platform to do and develop some other things. Yes, it was 3 images with separate words on each frame. Rose just nailed it. Make sure that you search for Gene Carey. Okay, thank you all for joining us. Look forward to talking to you next week, same time, same place. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.